Today, we're going to chat with Sean, who was diagnosed around a year ago with JIA, that's juvenile idiopathic arthritis or inflammation of the joints at a young age. And so he's going to share with us how he's doing today and what he feels like now, 1 year after making massive lifestyle changes. So, Sean, welcome to the podcast.
Hey,
Now, you and I have just met, 5 minutes ago. I know
yep,
that you've had a big transformation with your health. And to set the scene for people, maybe it's mums and dads listening to this who may have a child with JIA diagnosis, or maybe it's an adult with inflammatory arthritis who loves hearing success stories of people who reverse, symptoms with inflammatory arthritis. Uh, Typically, JIA is taken very seriously and it is given significant medications, quite similar to adult medications for rheumatoid arthritis. The prognosis is very serious. It's like considering lifetime with this condition, with lots of symptoms and struggles and so on, and disease management. Before we even hear about any of that, how are you today, 1 year after your diagnosis with JIA?
amazing. I feel painless.
So what's it feel like in the morning when you get up? Does it hurt to step onto the floor? Do your fingers have tightness?
No, sir. Everything works like it should. There's no pain or anything.
Okay. And how many medications are you on?
Zero. No medications.
Okay. What about painkillers?
No painkillers.
Okay. Um, Now, Diana, Mum, you've just joined us. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
We'll hear from you in a minute, but I just want to explore Sean a little bit here. Now, a year ago, what happened? I've just said here that you've got this JIA diagnosis, but you wouldn't have even heard of this before prior than a year ago, right? So, what happened? Did you wake up and you start to feel some pain? Just walk us through that.
Yes, sir. So, we had a cooler that leaked chicken, and I helped my mom clean it up, and I ended up getting salmonella. And that same day, I went to work, and I didn't feel so good throughout the day. And later that night, I came home and I felt kind of sick. I went to bed, and the next day, I woke up paralyzed from the waist down, unable to move my lower body, and very, very sick.
Wow.
But he had suffered from pain down his leg on his right side, from his lower back down his leg, and we did not know exactly what that was. So we kept taking him to different specialists to see what it was, and they just said it was growing pains because he had gotten so tall so quick. So they said it's just the ligaments; they haven't adapted yet to the height. So that's just all. There wasn't much they could do about that. And so we went about our business, but that started about when he was 13. And then he was playing soccer. He would go on the bike and do all kinds of activities, just like a normal boy. But a little at a time, he stopped doing the activities because he was in just so much pain. That leg wouldn't let him move that much, to the point where he had to stop all his sports. He had to stop his soccer. He had to stop riding his bike. He was doing a little bit of tennis at the time. He had to stop that. He would miss so many classes that at some point we just said, you know what, we need to stop because he couldn't even walk. Because he just said, it's just that there's just pain on my leg and I don't know what it is. And I was taking him to acupuncture to try to see if they could help him. We were just trying all kinds of things and nothing was working. And the specialists they didn't find out what was going on until he got sick. And you can go from there after he got sick.
And then after I got sick, my mom immediately took me to the doctor, and they said that I had salmonella, and they said that it may have been just a reactive thing with from salmonella. And
And so we went to more specialists, and they said we need to do an MRI to see what's going on because his numbers were so high. He had CRP. It was like something like 8,000, and his GI numbers were like out of the roof. And so they were like, "There's something going on other than just the salmonella." And so they did two MRIs, and they took us to the pediatric rheumatologist, and the doctor said he has juvenile idiopathic arthritis. We had never heard of that. We didn't know what that was at the time. And so I kind of looked at her and we're looking at each other like, I don't know what this means. And she's like, it means that he has basically arthritis
Youth.
for youth. And I said, I don't even know how that's possible. So she went, down and explained to us what the traditional treatment is, which is a form of chemotherapy medication at lower doses. That's given to them for a year to 3 years, depending, and it's basically just to shut down their system. And then hopefully with that, after a certain amount of time, they'll try to reboot their system and see if it'll work properly again. But during that time, you just have to be taking all this medication and doing steroid shots and whatnot. And so, she was very adamant about just letting us know, how good it was, but also all the side effects. And there were a lot of really bad side
Really
effects.
bad side effects.
She said it has a black label. I didn't even know what that meant. And she's like, these are treatments that this is kind of how everybody treats it. And this is the pathway that you guys have to take.
Yeah.
And so it's just like I was just so overwhelmed. I started to cry, but we left the doctor and just kind of like in shock because we didn't know, it was just like a lifetime thing that all we heard is like this is for life. This is the thing that's gonna go away. And
There was nothing. It was just more like IVs, just once a week or something. Something that was a terrible, terrible thing to hear, especially for a teenager who wants to be out doing things and being able to go to work and spending time with my friends. And to hear that basically for the rest of my life, I'll technically be able to walk normal again without having to do what the doctors want me to do.
so we came home and we said, we have to go home and think about this. My husband, Sean Casey and myself, we're like, this is a big decision. We can't just make a decision that quick. So we came home and
My mom started frantically looking on the computer for treatments and cures.
and then I told my mom, and my mom also started looking, and we're like, well, there has to be something else that other people are doing. We found different people online, but there's just so much out there. It's so overwhelming when you get such news. You go into panic mode, but with that panic comes a lot of information at you from all directions. And so I was trying to make sense of everything. People were saying so many different things, and it was just very confusing. And so we ended up, I kind of just had to take a step back because I didn't really know what to do. All I knew is that I didn't know how to help him, and he was in pain. He couldn't walk. His leg was swollen. It was just an awful time for him. And so I told my mom actually found you online. And she said, I found this program online. It might be helpful. I don't know. Just check it out. And then I started looking at it and I started comparing your program and what you were saying compared to other people. And I was just like, this makes sense because it's very scientific. And within what you're saying, you had actual proof. You weren't just talking. It was just like, okay, this is like, and this is why, and you would explain it. And so I said, let's go ahead and pay for it, and let's find out what all we can do. And so that's how we ended up finding you through my mom. And I said, well, Sean, you have two choices. You can either go with the medications or you can go with what this gentleman is saying. And he's like, well,
So she let me think about it. I slept on it for a day, and I was just like, well, if I go the medication way, it's probably going to hurt me in the long run because they said that I have to be on for the rest of my life. And I said, if I have nothing to lose, I might as well try this too. And that's kind of, I decided that I'm going to try it. And we kind of went from there. It was just like a full on juice. Yeah, it was, and that was the biggest part for me. That I don't like juicing whatsoever. Especially because I was such a meat eater, and rice and all this stuff. And when she told me, you also start eating more vegetables and drinking juice every morning and every day, and I'm just like, is it too late to do the medicine? And she's just like, yes, it is.
and so he, but I let him make that decision because it's his body ultimately. And he is a minor, but I wanted him to feel that he's making this decision for himself. He asked me, "What do you think I should do?" And I said, "Well, this is what I think you should do, but ultimately you have to make that decision because it's your body. You're going to be living in it, not me. Um, does it affect us all? Yes, because we all love you, but we'll do what you want us, what you want us to do." And so he said, "I want to do the juicing." So we just went straight to what you said right off the bat. And that's when I reached out to you and I said, I need, I don't know, I have this young man and I don't know what to do. And I think the best advice you could have given me is like, you're going to have to compromise because this program was made for adults, but he's still a young man and he's growing and he needs different nutrition than adults do. And when you said that, I was like, okay, I get it. And so what I did do with him, I said, we're just going to do this hardcore, Sean. Like if we're going to go all in. And so we ended up going and doing the juicing, just like you said. He was just on the cucumber and celery juice for days, and just a little bit of the greens with lime, and that was it. And that's what he ate for, I don't know, for a long time.
It felt like a couple months.
It was a long time. We did that because what happened is his whole, like his leg and everything was so swollen that we couldn't get it down. And when he started taking the juice, like I think it was within 3 days, he was able to finally get up.
Stand up, yeah.
But he couldn't walk very well, but the swelling was a little bit more manageable. But it took him probably a good month
Yeah, Mom.
of trying the juice for him to be able to walk from our inside our house to the backyard. And that was a huge deal because he couldn't even walk.
Yeah, I just got out. I wish she was taking the dogs out in the back, and I felt that I could stand up and walk outside, and I hadn't been outside in such a long time. I was just like, I'm gonna do this. So I walked outside, and I walked all the way to the back, and she started freaking out, and you know, it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling.
It was,
How
and
did that feel? Mum, how did that feel watching your son walk
I was
outside?
crying. I was crying. I have a video of him when he walked, and I saw him. I'm like, Sean, what are you doing? I was like, no, sit back down. And he's just like, no, Mom, I think I can do this. And I was just like, okay. And so, as a mother, you're like always trying to be like, no, no, no. But he, it's his body. So he knows. And he started walking and he started moving his legs and he started bending his leg up and down. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, and he's like, I'm feeling really good, Mom. And so from there, we just kept doing the diet, like you said, incorporating a little bit at a time.
Which was at this point quinoa, black beans, and sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
For a long, 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 long time. And that's all he had for a long time. It was his salads, his juice, quinoa, sweet potatoes, and black beans, because that sat well with him. And
Good.
so we tried some white rice, and it didn't sit well.
No,
Then
yeah.
we did wild rice, and it didn't sit well with him at all. His legs started swelling up all over again with wild rice. And so we don't know the logistics as to why that happens, but we just knew that it wasn't sitting well with him. So we just kept on that diet. And I think 6 months into it, we started incorporating cassava flour tortillas, which are just 3 ingredients. It's just the sweet potatoes, cassava flour, and salt. And that was it. And so I would make it kind of like that so he could have a variety just with the black beans, kind of make like a burrito kind of thing. And he could have that instead. And we just kept at it. We did the vitamin D's, which he still does.
The omega.
He does omega 3s. And then he's now he's back to he just started tennis again. And that's so exciting because he had to drop tennis. And he's moving around great. He had a visit with his rheumatologist about 2 or 3 months ago. And she said, I don't need to see you. I really don't need to see you anytime soon. So we'll see you next year. You look fine. And she has him bend down, jump, do all kinds of things. And she's like, I don't see anything wrong with you. So I know they have a hard time, being on board with the way that we did things. And they don't really necessarily approve of what we did. And they don't acknowledge that by food is how we healed him. They really don't. So they come up with all these reasons as to, oh, well, maybe it was like a
Yeah.
reactive arthritis from the salmonella, but we know that that wasn't it because he was suffering from pain from age 13. That was just a trigger, kind of like your story. That was when you had the food poisoning, it was kind of the same thing happened to him. That it was just kind of like took him over the top. The symptoms that he was having from age 13 was the severe pain down.
Severe pain down my back through my right leg. It was a very, very painful like stabbing pain all throughout to where like I would be limping. I actually forgot how to walk properly.
You had to go to therapy to learn how to re-walk.
And they kept telling me stuff like it's growing pains because I was 5'11", and I jumped all the way from 5'11" to 6'3" very, very quickly. So I can understand, but it was I could feel that there was what they were doing wasn't working. And then
And like I said, it was just this severe pain, and he kept complaining. And the more time passed, the less he could do. It was just gradually getting worse. And even though we were taking him to specialists and they were doing X-rays and stuff, they couldn't find anything. And until the salmonella hit, and when he got sick with salmonella, it was just horrible because he went from being able to kind of limp around and walk and to not being able to do anything. He woke up in bed and his leg was swollen, his body was swollen, and he was like screaming. And he doesn't complain about pain usually. And when we went to go see him, my husband and I, we were wondering what happened. We came upstairs and he was in his room and he was crying and he's like, "I'm in so much pain. I don't know what's going on, but I'm in pain." And my husband and I had to like lift him up. But he's such a big boy. We had to lift him up to take him to the bathroom. And in the bathroom, he was like, it's just, he was throwing up, he was bleeding. It was just an awful experience. But the worst part is that he had no movement from his waist down, like nothing. He had no.
yeah, I couldn't even move my toes or whatever.
No, and if we touched him, he would scream. Like to pick him up.
It was a scream. Yeah, it was a painful scream.
And we had to lay him on his bed. Even just trying to get him on his bed was horrible. To try to turn him was horrible. Like it was just, the pain was just something I had never ever experienced. And I've been through labor, and that was just something that I've never really experienced before. And especially when you see your son doing that, you just feel so bad that we don't know how to best help them. So when I heard your program, I was just like, we're on it, because the alternative was the medication. And we're a family that I don't even give Tylenol to my kids when they have fevers. So from them to just say we have to give them a form of chemotherapy, and these are all the side effects that could happen to him. And I'm thinking, he's just started his life. He's just a little kid. He doesn't need to be on such harsh medications. I was like, and I did ask the doctor, I said, how do you know that this is going to work? She's like, we don't. We're just trying to see if we can reboot his system, because this is what is done. But this is no guarantee that it's going to work. This is just what's done.
We're going to see what's going to happen.
And then we'll go from there. And I said, well, what if it doesn't work? She's like, well, if it doesn't work, then he just has to stay on it longer. Or he might just have to keep having, IVs or medication or steroid shots for the rest of his life. And I'm thinking, that doesn't sound right to me as a mom. It doesn't sound right. So when we went home, and after, what you do as a parent, you usually cry for a while and try to make sense of everything. And finally, I was just like, okay, I know something's wrong, but I need to know exactly how to help him in a natural way. And that's when my mom jumped in. Yeah. And she found you, and we jumped into your program, and we ended up doing, your program. And it was such a life changer. We can never, ever, ever repay you, because you have changed the course of his life. I know that we hear that a lot on your program, but as a mom, and as my husband's working right now, he couldn't be here, but we, from the bottom of our hearts, we have no words to express how grateful we are to you and to your knowledge and everything that you have provided, because of you and what you have discovered, you have given him a chance to a different life, because he has gone to the rheumatologist and he has gotten his labs pulled, and they were high numbers. They were horrible numbers. And a little at a time, we would pull his labs again, and the numbers were coming down a little bit, but slowly. For a while there, they were just stagnant. And we were like, we didn't know what to do. But you said it just takes time. Just keep at it. Don't give up. Don't give up. And he would get, he's a teenager. He wants pizza.
Yeah.
He wants burgers. He wants everything. But I was like, we just got to stick with it, Sean. We just need to stick with it, and let's see if it works. Let's give it a chance. So, I'm so grateful to Sean that he was humble enough to be able to do the sacrifice of not eating the things that he was accustomed to, and do this for him, for his health.
So right now I'm currently vegan, no oil, no sugar, no dairy. I just eat plants, which I know to most people sounds boring and disgusting. But in the long run, it's giving me more energy than most of my friends. And my vitals and numbers have all come down to a very wonderful percentage.
We just had his labs pulled, the CRP and the SED rate, and which we had to fight for because they didn't want to pull them, because the rheumatologist like, we don't need to pull them, we don't need them. And then the GI doctor said, we don't need them, we don't need to pull them. And so I finally went, and I had to. I tried for a long time, for months, to try to get them to pull them, and they refused to do it. And so I went to his pediatrician and I said, I need your help. I need to pull his labs. I only need 2 things, and I need to see what it is. And she's like, well, you need to ask your rheumatologist. And I said, no, they're not wanting to help us. Can you please help us? And she's very sweet. And we've had to compromise with her as well, because they're very traditional in their ways, and the doctors. But she has worked with us. She knows kind of how, we do things at home. And she's like, okay, well, let me see what I can do. So she ordered the labs. We were able to take them about 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he got his labs, and she called us, and she was so, she had her nurse call us, and she said, I just wanted to let you know that his labs are perfect. Like, they are amazing. He is absolutely, there's zero inflammation, nothing to be concerned. And he's right where he needs to be. And so here he is. He said, Mom, I think I'm ready to go back to tennis. And I said, okay, yay, and so.
I remember my first time being able to, after I started walking, she's gradually had me walk a little bit throughout the day, and she's just like, just kind of get back into it. And then I went to physical therapy for a little bit just to learn how to walk again
And
properly. And pool therapy helped quite a bit. Pool therapy. So in the pool.
Yep. In the pool. Yep.
Yes, sir. So I was doing that, and little by little I was able to regain the ability to walk. And then one day my mom was in the back again, and I decided, like, I'm going to run from the house to the backyard today. And I was just like, nothing's going to stop me. So I went and I ran from the front of the house all the way to the backyard.
He was like a little boy.
Yeah.
He was running like kind of like Bambi on brand new legs.
Yeah.
It reminded me. I'm just like, Sean. And he got his dog. We have some dogs, and he got his dog, and he was running with his dog. And it was just the most beautiful sight I had ever seen. Just him, and he had the biggest smile. He's like, Mom, I can run, Mom. And I was just like, I was just ecstatic that I could see, my son doing something completely different that was against everything that the doctors told us. The doctors were so upset that we didn't go down the path that they wanted us to go. They were so
trying to convince me personally,
making us feel guilty, like that we were bad parents, that we weren't doing what we were supposed to do, being responsible, that almost feel like we were abusing our child because we weren't following the protocol. And I was just like, I had to be very, very assertive and very, just downright a little bit rude, but not too rude, but just enough to be like, no, this is what we're going to do, and I know that they don't believe it. Even to this day, they won't acknowledge that the food is what healed them. And Sean said something very, very interesting about the juice, how you feel about it.
Right. It was just that they can't technically accept that they went to school for such a long period of time, and in a course of 6 months, I was able to take a cucumber and celery juice and heal myself like that.
And
Yeah,
so when
it's
we
great.
went to the doctor, not this last time, but the time before or a few times before, we went in there and there are just so many children in there in the pediatric rheumatologist. There's babies, there's, little babies, and they're all getting shots and they're all getting this medication. And I'm not saying I'm a medical expert, but I do know that as a mom, the first thing that I would do always is see what can I do first that's the least invasive thing and see if it helps, and then gradually work your way up. But I wouldn't just jump right into giving medication just because the professionals say so, because this is your child's life. And all those medications have such side effects. He went in there and they gave him an iPad
Yeah.
to check to see what side effects or what complications he has.
Filling that out for 15 minutes.
And it was everything from, he's like, who bleeds from the eyes, mom? He's like, is this real? And I was just like, yeah. I was like, they have to put everything that has been at some point a problem for somebody.
Right.
And there was just lines and lines, and he just kept checking, no,
Um,
no, 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 no.
And then sealing, I remember probably the most memorable experience is when I'm sitting in the office. My mom went to talk to the doctor, and I'm sitting next to a couple of the other kids that are in the office, and I'm filling out the iPad, and I turned to one and I looked, and I was just trying to say hi, because she didn't look very happy, and I was just trying to see if I could be comforting by any chance. She asked me what I was in for, and I said that I have juvenile arthritis, and I'm here to technically be released. And she was asking me, and then I asked her, how long have you been here for? She said, I've been here for about 4 years. And I'm doing the same thing. And she says that I'm just sad that it doesn't seem to be working, and that I won't be able to walk ever. And that to me kind of destroyed me right there. I was just like, I wanted to say all the things that would happen, but there there's just certain people that just won't listen. And to me, it's just very painful to see that parents sometimes will just like go directly with the doctor and neglect what their child wants. Because that one time my mom and I went in there, we heard my kid saying, "Stop, please help me! Stop, please help me!" And his mom was pushing him in to get his
More shots.
more shots. Yeah.
But he was asking for help. He said, no more, please, no more. And he was in a wheelchair. He was all swollen. He had a mask on. He was probably no more than 8 years old.
Yeah.
And he was asking his caretaker, which is his parent, please, no more. He kept crying that he sounded like he was stuffy. He didn't sound good. And he's like, please, no more, please, no more. And I'm just like, I didn't know what to do. I was just so distraught because I was like, do I intervene? Do I not intervene? But the mom just kept pushing the wheelchair into the doctor's office or the nurse's office or whatever it is to get the shots. And I was thinking, if the mom isn't on his side helping him, then he doesn't have anybody. I know that they think they're doing the right thing. And in some cases, it might be necessary to do some stuff, but from where we're standing, we didn't do any medication at all.
I had no side effects whatsoever.
And they said you have to give him some pain medicine just for the pain. And I said, no,
Ibuprofen.
I'm not going to give him any pain medicine. He's just going to have to suck it up. But that's kind of like my upbringing is just like, unless you're dying, then, you're just going to kind of deal with it. And some people have higher tolerance for pain than others. But I said, we're not going to do any painkillers, because what I remember hearing from your program is that all these, NSDs or NSIs, whatever it is, that they affect the gut, and it's the lining. The breaking of the lining is what's really causing all this autoimmune diseases. And so I was like, well, if those are causing it, and if I give him more to kill the pain, then I'm just hurting him more. I'm not really helping him. I'm just going to hurt him more.
Putting a band-aid over a wound.
So I was like, so we're not going to do that, Sean, because it's just going to affect you more. And so he's like, okay. And there was a lot of pain. There was.
So we started taking, she found me turmeric painkillers, natural painkillers, and that seemed to be working
A little bit.
Yeah,
It's been
it's been a very, very humbling journey to kind of bring me back down to where it's just like, you could be doing something one day and taking things for granted, and then the next day something like this could happen to you. And that's why you always want to make sure that you stay healthy and you do what's best for your body. And if it means that for the rest of my life, I take my juice every day, and eat salads and stay on my diet the way I am, to walk and do the stuff that I want, and live, instead of eating pizza and burgers and stuff like that, then absolutely, I would rather
Stay vegan.
stay vegan. Yeah.
What a story. Absolutely sensational. So, thank you. And I can feel the emotion it's so raw still. I mean, this is all only over the last 12 months.
That's amazing.
This is all just very fresh, and I
Yes.
can feel that you just jumping over each other and adding to the story and the recollection of what's going on. So thank you for sharing at that level of passion.
Yep.
Sometimes I do these interviews and then we get to this point and there's comments below, but what is the program? Like, what are you talking about? You haven't mentioned it. So for those people who don't know, it's the Patterson program for rheumatoid arthritis. People can
Yes.
just Google that. It is in the link below this video online. And there is modifications, exactly like you said, Diana. This isn't designed for children. And so I think it's important to point out that we're on the same page here, that this isn't against the medical profession's approach. This is just everyone making their own decisions, given that we can make decisions in our lives, and that you have said, let's try this first, see how we go. It's created euphoric results. And so doctors have now said, okay, you don't need to come back.
Mhm.
And so we're not suggesting that everyone go down the same path. Everyone obviously needs to consult with their physician and make their own decision. If they do want to do what Diana and Sean have embarked on here, the modifications are crucial for children. So please
Mhm.
contact us to get those modifications if you do choose to go down that path, whoever's listening to this and who's inspired by this story. Sean, what is in the future for you? What do you want to do next? I know you're back to playing tennis. What does this inspire you to do something like, do you now want to kind of spread this message over and above, obviously, what we're doing here? But is it something that you're now passionate about, that you feel like you know something about that so very few people do?
Yes, sir. I would love to go to school to be a rheumatologist, but not traditional medicine. I would love to be able to do pediatric rheumatology for kids and give them an alternative. Sometimes I know that they actually might need traditional medicine, but I want to be able to mention that I know some people and I've personally been on it throughout my life, and it's helped me, and I would like to help out other children like that.
Amazing. Um, how are your grades? How do you go at school? Because to get into rheumatology is obviously there's a fair bit of academic of a bar to jump over. Is that something that you feel that you might be able to achieve?
Yes, sir. Anything is possible. My grades are, I would say, somewhat pretty good. I would like to get a tennis scholarship to be able to attend school, because tennis is something that I really love to do, and it's one of my hobbies,
He's good at it.
and I'm good at it. Yeah. I just want to be able to spread the message that what you were able to do for me, that I could maybe go and help and change somebody else's life that might be what happened to me.
That has options. Just have options, that sometimes when you're a parent and you're in that situation, you feel like there is no other option. That's the only option there is what the doctors tell you. But if we can start spreading the word that there is an option and they can try it, and if it works, great. And if it doesn't work, then at least they know that it's
Tried. Yeah.
But I say try it first. What's the worst thing that can happen?
You have nothing
And
to lose at that
there's
point.
nothing to lose because you've already, you're in a really bad situation at that point. And the last thing that you need to do is jump into something that's it's just so permanent. The damage can be so permanent with medications, especially those types of medications that they use for this. And so I think, why not try it the natural way? See what happens. Give it a chance to work. It's not an instant fix. It takes time. And the numbers that he has and where he is, it has been a sacrifice of a year. It wasn't immediate, it's a maintenance thing, and you have to keep maintaining. That's why I told Sean,
I asked her, I said, why isn't it working? And we were like a week and a half in, and I'm just like, nothing. I said, the swelling's gone down, but I'm not able to walk still. And she says that it's a gradual thing. You have to keep on it. And one day we will get there. And
here we are.
here we are.
A year later. It took a year of that, but what a difference. In a year. I mean, so much has happened in 1 year at the same time. It feels like, so it was, when we were in it, it just felt so like it was never going to end. We were never going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then now we're there and we see the results, and his labs are perfect, so much that I don't want to see him anymore. And and so at this point, it's just a matter of him maintaining his diet. Sometimes when you start feeling great, now it's like, okay, well, what next?
Mhm.
It's like, well, you can start incorporating some more foods a little at a time and seeing, where he is. And but we try something and he sees how it works. And if he says, I feel fine, then he can continue to add it to his diet. His diet is quite extensive now.
It's a very extensive diet.
Yeah. Are you able to eat everything in the plant-based kingdom? Everything from avocados and nuts and seeds and tofu and carrots
Yes, sir.
and everything. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Everything.
Yeah. He prefers garbanzo tofu.
Beans.
Like a tofu made out of garbanzo beans.
Mhm.
He likes that one better. I think he says it's silkier. But he can eat just about everything. He even started incorporating some ice cream that's like a gelato ice cream. Bless you. It's a gelato ice cream he can have now.
Yeah.
And because he wasn't able to have any sugar at all, so that was a big deal for him.
Right.
Finally have ice cream.
And then we found a vegan pizza because I love pizza. And although it does have small amounts of oil, we're able to manage that. Like, I won't just go straight up cook stuff in oil, but if it's pre-made and I'm out and about and I have nothing else to eat, then that's something that I'm able to do without hurting myself.
Yeah, great. And of course, you can cheat those things into your diet on the odd occasion if you need to by making sure that you have your leafy greens on hand.
Absolutely.
Also, some oranges or orange juice, if you're tolerating that, is a fabulous way to offset the free radicals associated with cooked oils. And also, the grapeseed extract is a great supplement to take if you're out and about and you're struggling to find either of those other two, the leafy greens and the oranges. So I can email you the details of that afterwards if you want. But grapeseed extract, it's a great protector against what's called lipid peroxidation. So that is awesome. You're living the dream now, Sean. You're saving the planet by not eating animal products. You're saving the animals and you've saved your own body. How good does it feel?
It feels amazing. Absolutely wonderful.
And he has friends and people all the time, naysayers, say that you can't survive on a vegan diet. You can't do it. You can't do it. He is not getting enough proteins. We have the doctors telling us,
You're not eating yourself more.
You need to eat everything he needs. He's a big boy. He needs to have this protein coming in from the meats and, the dairy and the calcium and all this stuff. And it's hard because it's so ingrained in everybody that that's how it's supposed to be. And it's very difficult.
But I won't even get sick now that I'm on stuff. If I have like a cold, it lasts maybe like a day and that's about it.
Yeah, so we have to, be mindful that not everybody is on the same page as we are, and that's okay. But if they are open to listening, then we'll share. But if we see that they're not there, then we just say okay and we walk away because
good luck.
That's it. But somebody said you can't survive on that diet. You're just going to hurt yourself. You're not getting enough proteins. We pulled all his labs. His protein levels are perfect.
But people forget that the ox eats grass.
You want to get big and tough like an ox, and then he's like, "Yeah, but the ox eats grass." And so, everybody says they want to get big and tough by eating meat, and it's like it's not really necessary. Do you have to be mindful of what you consume? Absolutely, but it is definitely possible to have, and he is probably the healthiest he's ever been, even since he was a young kid, you know. And we always consider ourselves healthy eaters, but he's definitely healthier.
That pain that he had from 13 onwards down the side of the leg, all that's gone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I've actually been pain-free for about maybe 3 months now.
Mm.
Being able to wake up in the morning and not feel any pain whatsoever. Say, the nightmare's over, and I can't thank you and your team enough.
You're welcome. You're welcome in capital letters. I mean, this is why it was Melissa's idea when we were going through all this, as we started to get labs that were perfect like yours, and I started to feel normal again. She said, if we put all this together and it just helps one person, it will be worth it. And so that's what we did. That was the first version of this. What it is today began as just one big long ebook that I sent to someone in the mail. That was the first thing we ever did, and it just grew from there. But it was Melissa's idea. Let's share what I've done, because she could see the future in it. And I'm going to be telling her all about this conversation, that's for sure, because it's like for this exact reason.
Tell her I said thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing all that you've learned. There is just a lot out there, and your program is a solid program. It really has. It's
backed up with facts and proof.
And proof, and there's people from all kinds of different walks of life that are, they are all seeing the same things, and they're talking about it in a very, very intelligent way. They are not just talking just to talk or say, oh, this will work and you just do it, trust me. It's actually proven, and they have the proof there, where you can actually, if you sit down and start reading these articles and start listening to the people. And I was just immersed in it. I was like on it, morning, day, afternoon, any time of the day. I just had my AirPods in. I was just listening to it because I just wanted to absorb as much as I could.
Watching all your YouTube shorts on Facebook.
Everything, just everything, from your program, all the people talking, everything that was available to me. I was just trying to get as much information as I could to help him the best that I could. And so thank you to Melissa, thank you to you, and for your, I'm sorry that you had to go through it, but it was such a blessing to us, because of that, he has a different chance of life than he could have had otherwise. So like I said, there are just no words to thank you. My husband would have loved to be here to say thank you to you as well.
Well, I can. My birthday is August 31st, so it's like
Saturday.
You'll
be 17.
Yeah. And now I get to, thanks to you, I get to enjoy another healthy birthday.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, it's more than welcome. It's just so wonderful to hear. And Sean, from here, man, this is something that took me, I was in my late 30s until I felt this in my body. But you get to feel it at a young age, is that you can now achieve anything in life. All right. You've overcome the biggest hurdle in your life at a very young age. And the discipline, the commitment, and the fortitude that it takes to go through what you went through is the biggest life lesson to now carry forward, to know that you can do anything. So becoming a medical doctor, for example, by comparison, whilst there's a ton of work in it, that's, as you said, that's well within your scope. You know what I mean? That is now so more, what's the word? The mountain seems so much lower given
Yes,
the
sir.
experience you've had with this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so it's going to make you the most incredible man, someone who's a great father, someone who's a great husband at one point, and all of it comes from this experience at such a young age. So whilst it was the most awful thing that's ever happened, you can now also take it forward and say it's one of the best experiences to shape me as a human being. So that's a gift, and think of it like that.
Yes, sir, I will. Thank you.
And look at what it's helped you with your mom as well, the relationships with your family. Think about 20 years from now, the bond that's been created in just the last 12 months for you and your family, because you're a team. You work together, you stick by each other, no matter how hard things are. Your family dynamic has just been tightened and strengthened like never before. So that is another wonderful outcome from this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we definitely, he'll say it was all thanks to you. And I was like, no, we were a team. You had to do your part because I can only give you the information and provide the food, but it's up to you whether you eat it. You have to be proactive. You have to do your part. And, teenage years can be tricky at times. And so there was times where we just both had to walk away for a little bit because it can be daunting sometimes for somebody, to be like, I don't want to eat salads. I don't want to do this. Why does my friend get to do this and I don't get to do this? And so at times there was conflict and there was, those hard moments. It wasn't all rosy. It was a very difficult journey.
But what I think helped the most was that she said she'll do it with me too. So my mom actually got on drinking juice and doing that, and it's pretty much my whole entire family, my dad and everybody. So usually in the mornings now we'll drink juice all together and eat salads throughout the day. And
my husband's he's a meat eater. My other one is too. And they like meat, but Sean has gotten to the point where he's just like, you know what? Don't stop because of me. I don't like meat. I don't need the meat.
I can control
I
myself.
can control myself. I don't need it. So
I know what's good for me.
yeah, he started working again and they put him in the meat department sometimes and he has to he's there.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of ironic to me. I was just like, they could have put him in the produce department, but they put him in the meat department at times. And so, he just does his job and then he comes home. But the fact that he can stand up, he can walk, he can do everything that he's supposed to and more, it's an amazing thing. He's looking forward to getting a scholarship through tennis. I mean, that's a big deal. To me, I saw him running around out there in the court and I had to take a video because I just couldn't believe my eyes. I was sending it to my husband. I was like, look at Sean, just look at him. Can you believe this? So at times we still can't believe it, that this is where we're at. And, this is just a blessing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, amazing. So the requirements now from this point onwards is just to not test the system with too many cheats and too many. Yeah. So it's the life of pi now, right? So you're in the boat, the ferocious animal, you've learnt how to tame the beast. Okay, the beast is calm, it's not attacking you. You're in the boat, but there's close proximity. What you do now is you just remain in this rhythm with the beast that's been tamed for the rest of your life. You don't go and start poking the tiger in this metaphor. It will bite you again. And so what we do is what this means is that we stay as active as we can. We live the happiest life we can, socialize with friends, laugh with friends, do fun activities, do all the things you enjoy, listen to fun music, do all these fun things. And we want to also get lots of sunshine, be outdoors, right? Build as much physical strength as we can. In parallel to your tennis and activity, make sure you have a gym routine. Get active in the gym. Build more strength around those joints that were affected, particularly the hips, because that's where you were getting a lot of pain coming down the legs, the knees. Protect the knees. Make sure you have great range of motion by building strength and then doing stretching. And just basically treat your body like it's the most important thing. And with the food, never eat deep fried, especially deep fried oily meals from restaurants because they multi-heat the oil. So it's not just terrible, it's like disastrous. And if ever there is some oil, only a tiny little bit is ever allowed. And make sure you have antioxidants with that meal, even if it means you have to say, hang on, guys, you order that food and I will have that but I'm just going across the road to the convenience store here. I'm just going to get myself a little packet of leafy greens or maybe a little, bottle of orange juice, something.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because it's
Absolutely.
just not worth it. I've been through this whole thing. I've had a big setback and recovered again. And you just got to make those those little decisions in that moment, the oil, cooked oils, especially restaurant cooked oils, it will unravel you. Okay. So just
Absolutely.
so careful.
Yes, sir. And then the last thing is alcohol, smoking, and all the drugs and stuff going on right now. I remember my friends asking me, like, so what happens when we get older and we go out to drink? I'm just like, well, I guess I will be the only sober person driving you back. I can go have a nice cup of orange juice with you guys, or water, but that's about it.
It'll keep him out of trouble.
Keep me out of trouble, yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you. I
That's right.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you'll find that when you enter into university or college, as you guys call it, and I'm not saying your current friends aren't going to be friends for life and they're not awesome, wonderful friends. I'm just saying that there is so many people at college and there are so many different walks of life that you're going to find there is so many different types of social groups that you can be part of. And not all of them are going to, be mad drinkers. And there's going to be a portion of them who could be well into the lifestyle that you have as well. And it totally opens up like the sun rising into opportunities for friendships and social groups and everything. It's a new world. And it is a fantastic world, let me tell you. You're going to love college. It is amazing. And so when you get into that, you're going to then have your friends who like partying and okay, yeah, like you might skip the drinks. Then you have your friends who you do all these other things with and life's just amazing. Okay. So yeah,
Yes, sir.
Everything changes as you go through these stages.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Definitely it does.
Mm.
And when he had gotten sick with the salmonella, it had already been a difficult time for Sean because he was in pain, but he had lost his best friend to a tragic accident a couple months before he got very sick. And so it was a very difficult and dark time for our family. We were dealing with grieving from this accident to him getting sick. So it felt like almost like just everything came down all at once. And it was just a very, it was a dark time for Sean. But I think this has helped them so much to put things in perspective as to try to enjoy life and to be right with people and to do the right thing. And to, even if you get angry or you get upset, to try to just make amends because you never know what's around the corner. Like Sean said, one minute you're doing this, the next minute you might not be able to do that. And so in his young life, he's had a lot of different experiences, and they've been a little bit of a hard ones than most kids. But I think that this has just given him, like you said, that strength that he's going to need moving forward in making his life and his choices and saying, well, if I overcame this, then I can pretty much do anything that I set my mind to. Will it be easy? No, things that are usually worth doing aren't very easy. But if he was able to do this, then I have full faith that he can
Absolutely.
he can do anything.
Yes, sir.
And I'm so proud of him.
You can sense it. You can see. I'm looking at it. You can just sense it. There is this inner. You know what? I've got this. I have got this. And bring that into your tennis. When you're practicing alone against the wall or hitting balls from a ball machine or whatever it is, like your why, like the why as to want to do all these things is much greater than everyone else. That's the advantage you have. Everyone else has just got their father or mum just saying, I want my kid to grow up and be great at tennis. You're like, I got this is my reason. And this is coming from the heart. This is coming because I'm on a mission. Bang, 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 let's train for another 30 minutes. Bang, bang, let's get there 30 minutes, whatever it might be. There's just a greater purpose and you have that fire now,
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. You guys have been amazing. Thanks, Diana. And thank you, Sean, for sharing what is an incredible story. I really appreciate you, putting this into the public so people can watch and learn and listen because we you put yourself out there by doing this and I'm grateful for that. And There are going to be some people who sort of poo-poo this and say, oh, you should be still listening to the medical community. And there's going to be some people, and these are the people we're trying to touch, who say, thank you so much, because this is what I needed to hear today. I needed to know that my body can heal, that there is hope, and I needed to be uplifted by Sean's story. So thank you, guys.
You're sure welcome. Thank you as well. And we hope if it makes a difference in even one child and a parent, to give them hope that there might be a different way, then I think that it's worth doing.